Hello and welcome to Treasure Trove. This is an in-betweeny show when one of your fabulous hosts won't be able to make it to our accredited and famous Creature Club show. Today I am joined by the illustrious, the wonderful, the beautiful Mikey DC.
Hello. That is me, I guess.
Yeah.
All those descriptions don't sound familiar to me.
Well, they're all true.
Oh, thanks, Tim. Yeah, this is kind of strange. I don't think there hasn't ever been a Mikey Tim episode yet of any Creature Club Network podcast.
No, I don't think there has.
It's just Daniel's been around in all of them. So
yeah, he's been a tour de force. He was a powerful voice for us.
Yeah, let's be honest. He runs the show, so
he practically does.
Yeah, it's going to be strange without him on the boat.
We'll do it. We'll make it. We'll have things to say and stuff to comment on.
Yeah. And also, I talk to you, Tim, all the time, so it's not like I have to talk to Tim for an hour.
Gross. I don't want to be your friend. Ew. Today we will be jumping into the seas of the Treasure Trove. We're going to be jumping into the Dungeon Master's Guide, the magical item section, and the sea items are what we will be doing. How many times do you think I can say pretty much the same thing over and over again?
I don't know, but just in case if you guys are just tuning in, what we do in Treasure Trove is instead of going through monsters alphabetically, we go through the magical items alphabetically. And
we sure do.
Today we hope to go through every single sea magic item and just go for it. So,
yeah.
Cool, let's start with the first one. I'll read this one out.
Go for it.
Candle of Invocation. Wondrous item, very rare, acquires attunement. The slender taper is dedicated to a deity and shares that deity's alignment. The candle's alignment can be detected with a Detect Evil and Good spell. The DM chooses a god and associated alignment or determines the alignment randomly. And you have like a D20... you can roll a D20 with a table there, and it kind of shows the different alignments there. So you can do
why they didn't use just a D10, because I think there's 9 differences. Oh yeah, of course, for the alignment table.
Yeah. There's 9. So you got 1 and 2, chaotic evil, 3 and 4, chaotic neutral, 5 and 7, chaotic good, 8 to 9, neutral evil, 10 to 11, neutral, 12 to 13, neutral good, 14 to 15, lawful evil, 16 to 17, lawful neutral, 18 to 20, lawful good. There you go. Roll that and you get an alignment, or you can just choose it yourself, whatever. The candle's magic is activated when the candle is lit, which requires an action. After burning for 4 hours, the candle is destroyed. You can snuff it out early for use at a later time. Deduct the time it burns in increments of 1 minute from the candle's total burn time. When lit, the candle sheds dim light in a 30-foot radius. Any creature within that light whose alignment matches that of the candle makes attack rolls, saving throws, and ability checks with advantage. So basically, if you match the alignment, you get advantage on attack rolls and saving throws and ability checks. There you go.
Yeah.
In addition, a cleric or druid in the light whose alignment matches the candle can cast first level spells he or she has prepared without expending spell slots, though the spell's effect is as if cast with a first level slot. So that's cool. Alternatively, when you light the candle for the first time, you can cast the gate spell with it. Doing so destroys the candle.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I hate reading on this show, so I don't know why I did it there. So, yeah, that's a pretty cool item. So basically what it is just a candle that is for a certain god.
When I first read this, I wasn't very sure about how they would kind of make it make any kind of sense, because Candle of Invocation is kind of vague to start with. I feel like they could have gotten this gives you advantage with your alignment to this list of things, like a lot earlier on in it.
But I guess it's cool. When I was first reading it, I had no idea how to use it for a player character. It's not really a thing that you kind of give to them.
Yeah.
But I was thinking it would be cool to just put in the world. Maybe throw it into the cultist lair. Let's say they're trying to rise Tiamat, and it's a lawful evil, I guess, or chaotic evil candle, and all the cultists in there get a bonus to it. Or if you're in a temple, like a paladin order, maybe they have the candle to Bahamut, like a lawful good god, and then they get stronger. It's a nice thing to kind of put in a place of worship. That would be a very cool idea.
But I feel like it's not a very kind of normal thing. Like, unless you have read the Dungeon Master's Guide cover to cover and noted this item very specifically, are you really going to put it in there? Because it's quite a cool effect, but it requires attunement. So you have to have it on your person and be attuned to it for whatever might happen, and you have to know the alignments of your friends to know just how effective it's going to be.
But yeah, I think it's kind of a weird item for your adventuring party to have. I do get you on that one. So maybe it's just a world building item. Maybe it's something to put into your world somehow. Yeah, I do get you. There's a lot. There's way more cooler items than this to have on you.
I think there's one detail in the middle there, the middle thing where it tells you how to keep track of how long it's been burning for. That feels kind of unnecessary. Like, you light it at the start of a dungeon, and then your dungeon master will just tell you eventually when it goes out. You know.
I know. If I was DMing this item, I'd be like, "What, man? I don't care. Just it's a candle.
Anybody got time for that?"
I got no time for all this math. All right, I have enough math to do in this game.
Yeah, I like the idea you had of having like them in the temples or in the like cultist lair. And then they can be like themed, so like a chaotic evil one will be black, and like maybe it'll have like claws look like they're coming out of it, or maybe it'll be kind of alive. And then the like lawful good ones will just be like a pure candle with maybe like a sigil of whatever god it is on the front of it.
Yeah.
So you can really kind of customize them to whatever god you have.
I'm thinking, what if you had like a paladin, like a candle knight who has a candle on top of his helm, kind of just like just burning away.
It just has a candelabra.
Yeah, exactly. He's a candelabra. and then like the certain order of knights, they have these candles and they put them on their head and they fight better because of these candles, but they have wax falling on top of their helms. It's ridiculous, but there's an idea. There's a
well, that's a cool way. Like, if you gave that to a character, they would have like they'd naturally have a group of people like accumulate around them who have that alignment. It's a little bit, it kind of hard places the alignments in the world, whereas alignments are usually just kind of narrative. Like, they are a helpful kind of guide. Whereas this makes it like, are you lawful good? Oh, you can join my gang, you know?
Yeah, I don't like that about it too much, where I have to ask my players, like, hey, you're lawful evil, then you get advantage now. That's just, because I always saw alignments were stupid anyway, so... So, yeah, cool. Make a candle knight and use a candle of invocation. It does the thing. It gives you advantage for certain alignments. So, whatever. Cool. Shall we move on? Tim,
Let's
read the next
move on.
one.
The next one is the Cap of Water Breathing. It is a wondrous item, and it is uncommon, so it's obviously not rare. While wearing this cap underwater, you can speak its command word as an action to create a bubble of air around your head. It allows you to breathe normally underwater. This bubble stays with you until you speak the command word again, the cap is removed, or you are no longer underwater.
So, yeah, a pretty standard item. It's just giving your players a way to breathe underwater, because you might want to go on super cool underwater adventures, which no one ever does. And you need a reason to breathe underwater, so this is just a way of doing that.
I like the idea of underwater combat by itself is quite cool, but in game it is chaos. It is so hard to make it work, because you have to have the 3D dimensions, because people will be like, oh, I swim above them, and we try to surround them on all sides.
Yeah, but that's just like using flying as well, like with flying characters. Which can be kind of weird, but we'd never done a water combat. I've never done one. Have you done one, Tim? Before?
No, I haven't. I've seen one done where they fought a shark on in Critical Role, but like that was it.
Right, yeah.
And even that was a little bit awkward. I think I can't remember perfectly, but I think he kept them on like a 2D plane just to make it simple.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I kind of did with you guys when I did like the airship fight against the rock. Yeah. When I pushed you guys up against a rock, which is like a big bird, there's a lot of different factors going on where some certain characters could fly, so they were like jumping off and trying to beat him up, and then they were knocking the rock prone. But if you're in the air, then that just means you fall down quite a bit. It was screwy, but it was a fun encounter anyway. So you just kind of, when you're DMing like an encounter like a water combat or a flying combat, you just have to like take initiative yourself and say, you know what, let's just do a 2D playing. This is just for like the sake of the game, instead of going into this 3D like idea. You think about it. There's lots of different ways of doing it. Haven't done it too much myself, so.
I think that this item would be quite good for basically either sneaking into like an underwater lair or for games, for like side quests. Like in Zelda games, you'll get like your fishing rod or something like that, and there'll be an underwater thing. But I think this would be like a fun like thing to just have your players have, just in case something like this comes up, if they need to sneak into a pool.
Yeah, I'm picturing like jump in this pool, collect all the rupees, and wear this water cap kind of thing. You know, do it in record time, and then I'll give you a bigger wallet.
Yeah, well, that kind of idea, because I feel like people are inspired quite a bit by, you know, the classics, the Zeldas, the Lord of the Rings and stuff, and Zelda is definitely the more kind of children orientated kind of playtime kind of stuff. But you know, like I'd enjoy doing something like that, and you can have them like rolls to see how they perform, and like give it like a low DC of like consecutive rolls. Like you say, you have to swim from here to there underwater. There's like a well at the bottom, or like a plug at the bottom that you have to pull out before you run out of air. And like if you make it, you get this breathy thing, and then you get like a harder challenge or something.
That's kind of a fun idea to throw into like a D&D fantasy like carnival, you know, like loads of different carnival games.
Perfect. You know, bobbing for apples just came so much easier.
And just keep your head in there with this.
And then like make yourself go limp so everybody thinks you just drowned yourself in 2 inches of water.
Good stuff.
Oh man, yeah, that's a silly one.
So yeah, you can do a lot with this cap. Your character can breathe underwater with it. You do it. You think of an idea, guys. Like, I know this is what we do in the podcast, but like you can kind of really come up with an idea yourself of what your players could do while breathing underwater. It's kind of like it's a given, you know. Yeah,
I think a good example that just came to me was if you know that there is a deal going down on a pier or something, you could sneak up and then just like poke your head out of the water. Although you could kind of do that anyway. I don't know.
Or this one you can just
you could just
stay underwater and just kind of look at them or something, just kind of watching. It'll be help your stealth a lot with breathing underwater.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, there's lots of things you can do with it. So cap water breathing, breathe underwater.
Let's move on to the next one.
Next one, Cape of the Mountebank, wondrous item, rare. This one is kind of famous. I've heard this one quite a bit around the place. Yeah. Well, I definitely heard the name, and it's been in a bunch of. I think it's been since very early D&D, but we'll read it anyway.
Cool.
This cape smells faintly of brimstone. While wearing it, you can use it to cast a Dimension Door spell as an action. This property of the cape can't be used again until the next dawn. When you disappear, you leave behind a cloud of smoke, and you appear in a similar cloud of smoke at your destination. The smoke lightly obscures the space you left and space you appear in, and it dissipates at the end of your next turn. A light or stronger wind disperses the smoke.
Very, very helpful.
Very. It's like kind of like a teleportation.
Yeah, it's a handy little like escape if your caster or something doesn't have Dimension Door, you know. Like that I think it's a second level spell, but it's very, very handy for moving effectively. Like it could be used to like pop up a tree or hop across a chasm that's less than like I think it's 60 feet is the range of the spell.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, one of them. But yeah, it's a very like magician's exit as well, with just like the smoke coming out, like aha!
Throw down a smoke bomb and run away.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that's just a handy item for any player, really.
For sure.
Just to kind of get out of a jam.
And if you are reading along with us, there is actually an illustration of an artist's interpretation of what it might look like. And it's kind of a red cape with kind of gold trimmings. And it's very, very pretty.
It is. It's a very nice looking cape.
It looks more like a cowl than a cape, but you know, it's not for me to judge.
Yeah.
It's basically like an adventuring aid. It seems like you could do the mission relatively effectively, and you could be ingenuitive. But if you have a cape like this, it kind of turns on a different center of your brain or something. Like it makes you think differently. It makes you think in portals, essentially. Yeah.
And also, it might be cool to give to a villain. Like how how funny or just how fun in general would like see the smoke appear and then like, I am here, the villain, and he just walks out of the smoke and then starts like attacking you with his rapier, I guess. Or he uses it to like get out of a jam and just like, you got me this time, but haha, disappear, and then just jumps into the portal, and then you're like, you shake your fist at him like, how dare you,
classic
Gorbalax. That's his name.
That's his name, definitely. Maybe Gorbalax would have like his home would have like all of the like corners of the rooms kind of carved out, like a kind of a spike in each corner carved out so that he can see into each room, because one of the necessities for Dimension Door is it has to be a place that you can see. I learnt that recently in one of our games.
Right. Okay.
So he'd like cut holes in his house so that he can zoom into another room, and maybe he'll like lure you into a room and then say, haha, you've caught me, and then he'll Dimension Door somewhere else and activate a trap in that room or something like that. It would take quite a bit of work for the old DM to set up a multi-room house with multiple traps in each one.
And that's a fun dungeon there. A fun little, Gorbalax's lair.
A fungin, one might say.
Here, come on. How many times are we going to say that one on this show?
We're going to say it until the end of time.
Yeah.
A very cool little thing.
Give it, and then like it's cool to give to a villain, because if you kind of have this as a early game, early campaign villain, then your players kill him, and then you get a cool item after that. You already see how it works by fighting this guy who pretty much only has his cape and that's it, and like a couple of spells. If we're going by it being an early game villain, and then you're like, oh, he has this cape that makes him teleport, or even don't even say that the cape makes him teleport. Just they know that he teleports this way, and then they check out the cape when they kill him, and like, oh, it's the cape that's been doing the teleportation.
It has a powerful magic aura coming out of it. Ooh.
Yeah, use a little bit of identify spell, and bam, you got a cape. And it's not attunement as well, so you can kind of like share it around with your friends all the time.
Chuck it on, and then it just kind of makes sense what it does to you, right? So you grab it, and then you look at place, and then pew!
Yeah.
Or you'd probably be able to, like, if he hasn't got anything else magical on him, this is going to basically, you can tell that this is how he did that.
Yeah.
And Dimension Door isn't an enormously powerful spell, so you're not like dumping an enormously powerful item onto your crew. This is a nice, low level, sweet reward for a boss battle.
Yeah, and also it's perfectly fine to like give your players a pretty cool and pretty powerful magical item after they defeat like a boss. Like that's the game's all about. The game is made for the players to have overpowered magical items. That's just kind of how the game is. It's fine to give them, and because we don't play a lot of D&D, so you might as well give your players magical items. Which I don't actually remember. I don't remember a lot of the time. I need to start giving my players more magical items. So
yeah. But it's kind of hard to come up with them. So this kind of stuff is great for just like seeing what people have come up with. Exactly, a lot of the time it's imbuing basically a spell onto an item, but there's a certain amount of ingenuity that comes with being able to do that and thinking things up like that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So that's the cape of the mountebank.
Yeah, teleport with a cape. Let's move on.
So the next item is the Carpet of Flying. It's a wondrous item, and it is very rare. You can speak the carpet's command word as an action to make your carpet hover and fly. It moves according to your spoken directions, provided you are within 30 feet of it. Four sizes of Carpet of Flying exist. The DM chooses the size of the carpet, or gives determined randomly. So it basically gives a small list of sizes and what they can carry and their flying speeds. The smaller it is, the higher speed it has. It can move 80 feet if it's 3 foot by 5 foot, and if it's 9 foot by 6 foot, it can move 30 feet, but it can carry more. So it's a nice little kind of leveling thing there. A carpet can carry up to twice the weight shown on the table, but it flies at half speed if it carries more than its normal capacity, which makes sense to me.
Okay. That's the Carpet of Flying. It's a flying carpet. A lot of these have been very self-explanatory. It's been a very self-explanatory episode. But yeah, like you can do a lot with that where...
Absolutely.
Stuff it in your bag, and like if it's like a falling dungeon that's like crumbling around you, just take out your carpet and hop on and fly away like Aladdin,
Yeah. Or that's super cool. I love that image.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a very iconic image, like just kind of flying out of a jam on a magic carpet, or sing a song about wanting to see the world with
about
your
showing a
loved one.
person the world.
Yeah, exactly. You can do a lot with a magic carpet. I do really like the way that if it's smaller, it goes faster. It just makes sense. Like, it's just a nice little touch they put in there.
Maybe don't give your entire party flying carpets.
Yeah. Like, maybe it might be cool to have one that's like, give them one.
Yeah. But make it so that it can't carry all of them. Otherwise, you've basically solved all of their dungeon crawling problems in like an instant, you know? I mean, sure, it's possible to have like a Goliath on your team that weighs around about 600 pounds or something, or like an ogre or something that will not be able to stand on it. But, you know.
And you'd be like, go on without me. Like, okay.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
Don't
look,
actually.
Oh, look, we found a new character on the other side of this chasm.
Go on without me. Okay. Give me your character sheet. What? I'm dead?
No. Yeah, rocks fall and you die.
Oh man. Like, carpets like are cool because you can easily. Actually, a lot of these items are cool with the flying ones because you can easily stuff them into like a bag of holding. But I guess a carpet you can kind of like. I can picture like rolling it up and kind of keeping on like one of the like straps on like your backpack. I can kind of picture that.
Oh yeah, like a bivouac kind of thing. Just kind of attaches to the bottom of your bag or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. And then just kind of like, here's my secret weapon. Watch flying carpet.
So in all of your character illustrations, you'll have a cool carpet attached to your character.
Exactly, yeah.
I think to be able to put it into the world is a kind of a tricky one, and to have like your characters know that it is there, because unless they walk into the room and they use detect magic and they see that the carpet is magic, they're not just going to walk up to something and say fly and then it's going to start flying, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a cool thing to stick in like a treasure room where it's just on the ground, and like someone who decides to get like a particularly good investigation or perception check, they'll notice that this carpet is different, or even they don't notice it at all. And if anyone does like detect magic, then they can sense something really magical come from the carpet, and then they poke it and it starts like flying or something, you know? You can kind of reward your players for really kind of keeping their eye out, like, and kind of foreshadow it in a kind of not cool way, you know?
Yeah, and I think for the command word specifically, I think if it is in just like a treasure room in a dungeon, it would make sense that like whoever has it there would like write down whatever the command is, maybe in code, so don't give it to your players immediately, but like have it written somewhere in like a clue or a cipher or something, which is another cool way to get your characters engaged in the world.
Yeah, or like put it somewhere else in the dungeon or something.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's cool. Just like a diary or something. Like they pick it up and like in the middle of there's like a page that is bookmarked and there's writing, but there's like one set of characters that is like very bold and read these, and these are important written underneath.
Or there's just like one page in the back of it that has it really in big letters, just the word, and like when one writes like a password, like on like their diary or something, like just like remember this big word, like this is the password. And then like when your players see that, they're like, oh, cool. Wait, that carpet was? Let's go back there now. Like, let's go back there. And he just marched back. I was wondering
why it was magic. It just had something about it.
Yeah.
Let's try this command word.
Or they see that and then they're just like, what does this mean? And like, let's try it out. You know, like
maybe give them the command word before the carpet.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Or have it put it into some sort of. I'm thinking of some sort of like Zelda-esque dungeon where you need. There's a carpet at the start, and you need the carpet to get around the dungeon, but it goes pretty slow, and maybe like giant bats are attacking you while it goes slow. I don't know, it's kind of a strange idea for dungeon, but you can kind of have it as like a dungeon exploration item that's like already there, and you can take home with you afterwards.
It's just like constantly moving at a slow pace. Like once you walk into the room, like you open the door, and then you walk in with your party, and then the door closes behind you, and this carpet starts hovering and starts moving slowly towards the door that's like up on top of a cliff or something.
I can picture it like going around circles like a like a tram almost, kind of very slowly, and you're like, and you once you see it, like, oh, you hop on, you just step on it, and then starts to keep going around.
It's a hop on, hop off tour.
Exactly. Yeah. That's kind of a weird idea, but a cool idea for a dungeon that we just came up with there. But yeah, you can do a lot with a carpet of flying.
Yeah, for sure.
Just make your characters fly. Carpet of flying. Well done.
Nice.
Next one. Let's move on. We got a couple to get through here. Sensor of controlling air elementals. Wondrous item, rare. While incense is burning in this sensor, you can use an action to speak the sensor's command word and summon an air elemental, as if you had cast a conjure elemental spell. The sensor can be used this way again until the next dawn. The 6-inch wide, 1 foot high vessel resembles a chalice with a decorated lid. It weighs 1 pound.
Wow.
I know. So, yeah, it's a sensor. I know you light incense off it, but what exactly is a sensor? Let me just have a picture, because you guys probably know, but go ahead, Tim.
They're little like clasp thingies at the end of a little chain.
Ah, yes,
like,
I'm looking at
you
them.
lift off the lid, which has like points attached to the chain, and then you put whatever you have to burn into it, and then you close down the lid, and then you just kind of swing it around the place.
Yeah, and then an air elemental just comes out of that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Although, air elementals, I think that's quite a cool image for having the air elemental come out of it, because they do tend to, like, if you had an actual elemental of the air, you wouldn't be able to see it. So having an air elemental come out of a plume of smoke makes most sense, because you'd be able to see it, you'd be able to sense it, you'd be able to censor it. I'm sorry. And
nice.
And it gives it a cool little like whirling image already.
And it's just like a great boss intro cutscene as well. You walk into like this like abandoned church, like Dark Souls or something. I don't think I was thinking Dark Souls, but you walk into this abandoned church and there's like this one lone like cleric there, and he's just like, "You found me," and then he just walks up to you and just like he's walking slowly towards you and just shaking this chalice back and forth, and like an air elemental comes out of it, and you have to fight that air elemental. Or even more, you can kind of make it a super sensor of controlling air elementals and have like 5 elementals come out of it. I don't know, like,
or you could do a kind of a classic villain thing where like he's at like the head of this cultish church, he's standing on the altar or something, and he uses mage hand or something to make one of the sensors shake, and it catches air and it lights a little bit, and then one hops out, and then you defeat that, and he's like, oh, impressive, and then he uses mage hand twice more, and then 2 air elementals, or like an air elemental and a fire elemental or something come out.
That's cool. So this is definitely, to me anyway, I picture this more as a NPC item, mainly a villain item, because if your players had it, they might keep it in their bag of holding, but they would probably not carry it around with them that much. I kind of picture this as one of those items that your players would keep in their HQ, just on the shelf of magical items.
Yeah.
Or keep them in their bag of holding, because apparently those are infinite. Like a lot of people kind of treat them as infinite, but but it's definitely a cool NPC item. It's definitely a cool
I think giving your players the conjure elemental spell at any point is kind of dodgy, because in the conjure elemental spell you can lose control of the elemental and they just start wreaking havoc on whoever is nearby. Like if you don't have control over them for the full extent of the spell, they stay there and they destroy shit. So I would picture the Aarakocra using stuff like this. If we're going to go back to call out to the first ever episode of Creature Club, where we talked about the Aarakocra, and they have 3 of them can do a dance where they like a flying dance where they can summon an elemental. Maybe this is some similar kind of magic where it's like put into a sensor instead. Maybe Aarakocra could use like Aarakocra clerics or Aarakocra like shamans use them, Maybe they're like really evil items inherently, because like the only people who can summon air elementals so easily are the Aarakocra, and maybe it takes like an Aarakocra's heart, like 3 Aarakocra hearts, to put into this sensor or imbue the power of the Aarakocra heart into this sensor, that like when you swing it around, like it conjures the air elemental. I like that idea.
I can just picture evil. Like your players are like, I have this, but I can't work it. I need like Aarakocra hearts. I can't really work it. Like it's like they're like batteries.
They're good for 3 days, and then you gotta replace them.
That's kind of cool though. That's kind of like a cool. You can put that in as like a how it works. Or like there's 3 Aarakocra souls in there.
Ooh,
would be cool too. Where
in
you
like
need
soul
to,
stones or something.
Yeah, you gotta sacrifice 3 of them and put them into this sensor to have their magic and have their skill of it. And that's a cool way of giving like a villain it, because he's kind of using this like blood magic to work this thing.
Oh, that's a great way to motivate it, because Aarakocra are people in it, and sometimes they're considered wanderers, but like you could come across this crew of Aarakocra and they have somebody who's been murdering them all. You know, somebody keeps capturing them, and this could be one of their weapons of choice.
That's an adventure hook.
Woo.
I do like the way you call it the crew of Aarakocra. I just pictured like Aarakocra like b-boy stance, like. This is a fun little image in my head. This is actually kind of a cool item, especially if you like just only with our Aarakocra lore in there. That was a fun little episode, the first ever episode of Creature Club.
Totally.
Good times.
Thanks for reminding me of that. I forgot that was what they could do.
Yeah,
and then we got that little hook out of it. Nice one.
Exactly. That's cool. Let's shall we move on?
Next.
The
Chime of Opening is a wondrous item, and it is rare. This hollow metal tube measures about 1 foot long and weighs 1 pound. You can strike it as an action, pointing it at an object within 120 feet of you that can be opened, such as a door, lid, or lock. The chime issues a clear tone, and 1 lock or latch on the object opens, unless the sound can't reach the object. If no locks or latches remain, the object itself opens. The chime can be used 10 times. After the 10th time, it cracks and becomes useless.
That is a really useful item.
Yeah.
And it's a really fun item to describe. Like, you just strike it on a lock, and and then you say, oh, it strikes on a lock, it rings.
No, it's
and
not
then
even
it opens.
on the lock. You can hit it from 120 feet away and just point it at the lock, so that if it's trapped and it explodes, you're at a safe distance.
Okay.
That's super, super cool.
That is cool.
Reading through this, I was very impressed with the kind of ingenuity of it. It's like the knock spell, but it doesn't like completely mess you up by letting everybody within a 300-foot like radius know where you are. You know.
Yeah, I do like the way it has 10 times and that's it. Like there's no charges.
Mm-hmm. There's no refilling.
It's 10 goes,
it's
and
just
that's all you get.
This like hollow tube, because they're very pretty things. Like you can just, and it says it has a clear tune, and maybe like as you use it more, the tone becomes a little bit duller or a little bit more tricky to hear, but it still works until it cracks and is no longer usable. Or
like your bard in the team's like, oh, I have a song now.
Could somebody hit my tuning fork there? Oh
man, that was our 10th go.
Damn. Well, gotta get a new one.
All right.
Sweet. They're very nice little things.
Yeah.
I'd imagine giving them to your party would basically just do that. Like, you have them as this thing. Maybe a rogue would have them through whatever rogue-like things, connections they have to opening locks and stuff. Because I can't imagine them being available on the open market, because, you know.
Yeah.
That's definitely a criminal's item.
If you don't have rogues in your team, it's a cool thing to put there. Because if you have a rogue, let's be honest, it's super easy to open any lock you come across. Unless it's like a super magical tough lock.
Yeah, and then this probably wouldn't work on it.
Yeah. But it's like making locks in your game, it's just another role for your rogue to do. And even like anyone else could do. It's just they just don't get their as they're not as well at unlocking things if they're not a rogue, but they can still try, and it's still easy enough to get it. So if you have this, it's just a cooler way of doing it, and you can do it from far away. It's just like it's just a fun little image for your players of, like, you know, chiming this tuning fork and then making it sound, and then it opens it from far away. You know?
Yeah, super handy.
Yeah, it's a fun little item.
Simple, effective.
Use it today.
Give it to your players.
Give it to your players. All right. Moving on. Circlet of Blasting. Wondrous item, uncommon. While wearing this circlet, you can use an action to cast a Scorching Ray spell with it. When you make the spell's attacks, you do so with an attack bonus of +5. With the circlet can't be used this way again until the next dawn. That's cool. Scorching
nice.
Ray is basically a Scorching Ray, but to be exactly descriptive about it, I'll read out the spell right here.
Go for it.
Well, look it up. You create 3 fire rays. You can hurl them at one target or several. Make a ranged spell attack for each ray. On a hit, the target takes 2d6 fire damage. So you chuck 3 fire attacks at them. But this one lets you do it like once for free with like an attack bonus of +5. So it's a circlet. I think that's like a thing that goes around your head.
Yep.
I can just picture like a little like a little gem in the middle, like where your forehead is, and it just blasts out. Yeah, it just blasts out of it.
Sweet. Or depending on the color of the gem, it has flames of that color.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be cool.
Yeah, that could be a very kind of signature thing for a bad guy or a good guy to do. You know, like this shining paladin has this diamond in their circlet, and when they use Scorching Ray, it uses this beautiful, bright, shining white flames.
Yeah,
super cool.
That's a cool thing to give like a powerless villain on your team. You know, kind of like, you know, the brains of the operation, who kind of has other guys doing his stuff for him, like an evil lord, or like kind of like a guy who's not strong at all, but kind of like talks his way through everything. This thing to just have sneakily on his head, like that, like just one, he gets one attack, you know, that he can do, just in case things go wrong for him, you know, like, and then once again, if your players kill whoever has it, then they get this cool item. It's a cool thing to kind of foreshadow, with a villain using it first and then giving to your players. That's why I like to think about these items. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the character from My Hero Academia with the belly button blast thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you could make it into a belt of blasting and put, like, a gem in the front of that, and they can just, like, Watushi towards it.
Yeah. You can do that. That's funny.
Circlet of blasting. Another simple one, but, you know, very evocative and relatively powerful, because if you give that to it's like uncommon, so it's not unusual that your characters would have this item.
There's probably other ones to do this, but you can probably make circlets of different kinds of spells as well.
Like you probably use what's the ice one, freezing ray, is it?
Maybe
Ray of Frost.
Ray of Frost, yes.
That's
a cantrip, so that's probably you can probably do that more maybe with that.
Maybe use it at the level that you get at level 5. I think you can use 2d8 or whatever.
Or like Circle of Firebolt, where you can just, you know, it's like this one, but you get to do maybe more of them in a day.
Pew, pew.
You know, or Circle of the Fireball if you just want to be crazy. Where you like maybe if you like roll, you have to roll like a d20 at first, and if you roll a crit fail, it just blows up in your face.
Blows up. Oh man, that's cool. It's like really like unstable, and like when you like touch it to activate it, it starts like shaking no matter what, and sometimes it goes, and you're just like cringing, just like waiting for it to explode on your forehead.
Or you actually even make the penalty worse, where it's like a 50-50 chance. And you make sure your players know that, where if they're attuned to it or they identify it, it says there's like roll d20. If you get 1 to 10, it hits you, or 10 to 20, it hits whoever you want to hit. Your players know that, so it's just something to keep on them. And if they're like, "Oh, you guys, we're gonna die in this encounter, I'm gonna give this a go." All right, it's the only thing. It's the only chance we got.
I think that would be cool for like a fun one-off, you know, where you just have a bunch of characters with a bunch of just crazy stuff. Like they just have all these weird items. Like your characters just blow themselves up occasionally.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. I actually really like that item. I do love fucking stupid items, and that would be a good idea. So
that is a definite one.
So the Circlet of Blasting's cool. Is very cool. Try Circlet of other spells as well. I don't think it's exactly here, but hey, give it a go. It might be fun.
For sure.
Yeah. Moving on. Next.
All right. The next one is the Cloak of Arachnida. It is a wondrous item and is very rare and requires attunement. This fine garment is made of black silk interwoven with faint silver threads. While wearing it, you gain the following benefits. You have resistance to poison damage. You have a climbing speed equal to your walking speed. You can move up, down, and across vertical surfaces and upside down along ceilings while leaving your hands free. You can't be caught in webs of any sort and can move through webs as if they were difficult terrain. You can use an action to cast the web spell, save DC 13. The web created by the spell fills twice its normal area. Once used, this property of the cloak can't be used again until the next dawn.
Tim, are you telling me that if you wear this cloak, you can do whatever a spider can?
One might say that, Mikey.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Arachnida, arachnida.
Cloak of the arachnida.
It does whatever an arachnida. Okay.
Yeah, you're Spider-Man, all right? It's Spider-Man, the cloak, I guess.
Cloak of Spider-Man. It's blue and red, and you turn into Spoderman.
Yeah, you do whatever a spider can. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool magic item. You can climb walls, you can poison resistance, and you can shoot web.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Spider-Man cloak. That's not a whole lot to say with it.
You know what Spider-Man can do? All of that.
Yeah, he does all that. He does whatever a spider can, and that's Spider-Man.
Totally.
Once again, a cool villain item, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Or throw it in, or maybe like I can picture imagine like a cult of like a spider cult. Who's like the Lolth? I know there's like a chaotic evil god, like a spider goddess.
Yeah,
I can picture like a spider cult all having these cloaks, and kind of like their fighting style is kind of based around this. That's kind of like maybe that can be used. It's definitely like a villainous item, and maybe if your players get one, then they can use them themselves. You know.
Yeah. Another thought for that, maybe not like everybody has it, but maybe it's this kind of loner guy, this like evil druid guy who is serving Lolth and is subservient to one of her like great spiders or something. Yeah. And he has this cloak, but he's enhancing all of these other spiders. You know, like all of these spiders are killing people. They're eating my sheep. What will you do?
Screw your sheep.
I was spiders.
I got
spiders
other things to do.
Left and right. My name is Theodore J. Spiders.
I do love the idea of a spider druid having this. That's actually a cool idea, Tim. That's a really cool idea.
Cool, thanks.
A spidery druid who just hangs around with giant spiders all day and just wears this and just like, I hang out with spiders.
Spiders are my friends. Are you my friend? You're not a spider. No.
They're my friend, my spider. Cool. That's cool. Yeah. Anything else? Because we actually have quite a lot to get through with this one. Anything else about the cloak of spiders, cloak of arachnida?
No, I think it is basically a Spider-Man thing that you can just throw onto somebody if they have something to do with spiders.
Do you have a player who wants to be Spider-Man? Okay, give him this. Give him this.
Give him this.
Like, hey DM, can I be Spider-Man? Sure, yeah, fine, I guess. Like, oh, it's actually in the book. Shit, I didn't know that.
Cloak of Spider-Man. Huh.
Yeah. It should just be called that. That was definitely someone in Wizards just like, I'm gonna make a Spider-Man cloak. Yeah.
Cool.
Let's move on. Cloak of Displacement. Wondrous item, rare, acquires attunement. While you wear this cloak, it projects an illusion that makes you appear to be standing in a place near your actual location, causing any creature to have disadvantage on attack rolls against you. If you take damage, the property ceases to function until the start of your next turn. This property is suppressed while you are incapacitated, restrained, or otherwise unable to move.
Cool.
So, yeah, this is pretty cool. It's kind of like a... it's like a glitch almost.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It makes you appear as like a glitch in like a different place.
You're like lagging out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can just picture like your character just like doing like a run cycle, and then like you attack him, and then he just like appears somewhere else. That's
cool.
It is cool. Like just kind of giving this to like a once again, a villain item where
Yes,
like you're
good
someone
villain.
like it's a very good villain item where your players attack him and like, I wasn't there at all, like, and then Nani, and then your players get stabbed. And
He's
then-
behind you.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, Shinderu.
But yeah, once like I know it's a lot. It's a very cop out for me to say it about every item, but it's a very good villain item to like
For sure.
to foreshadow with a villain and then give to like with any bad guy that you go up against, either be like a main villain or like a mini boss guy or like a lieutenant or something. Definitely foreshadow it first with them using it, and then your players take it, loot their body, and then use it themselves. You know, it's just cool.
It's I think it's a call out to the old Displacer Beast, because on the page we have another lovely illustration by an artist, and it has the like tail spikes of the Displacer Beast hanging
I
either
see
side
that.
of the
That's cool.
shoulders. Yeah, and the Displacer Beast is a evil bad boy. It's a very cool monster that does very similar things. It basically just removes like what you can see from it, and it basically does what the cloak does.
Yeah,
very,
and
very
that's a spoiler, I guess, for when we do Displacer Beast and we monster hunter that monster.
People will forget by then.
I think we'll forget by then.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, definitely. I didn't actually notice that. Like 2 and 2, I didn't put 2 and 2 together with that one.
Yeah,
But it makes a lot of sense.
Displacer Beast.
Yeah. So yeah, do that. It's a cool item. So let's keep going. Let's keep going.
All right. So the next item is the Cloak of Elvenkind. It is a wondrous item and is uncommon. So, it'll be around. While you wear this cloak with its hood up, wisdom perception checks made to see you have disadvantage, and you have advantage on dexterity stealth checks made to hide, as the cloak's color shifts to camouflage you. Pulling the hood up or down requires an action. Ooh, that was a very long sentence. I don't think there were any full stops in there.
That's okay.
But it's a good one. That's kind of cool. I don't think, do elves have that ability?
I don't think
Naturally?
so, but it could be a call out to Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah. That would
Where all,
make
like
sense.
what the cloaks at the Fellowship get. Where it's kind of that's used for like camouflaging themselves at one point. Remember seeing with Frodo and Sam.
Oh, yeah, outside of the Black Gate.
Yeah, exactly.
With all of the Haradrim walking by. Oh, man.
I think it could be a call out to that one. I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my money on that.
All right.
Because I don't think elves get like a disadvantage. That's not really even elf
No,
ability.
I don't think they do. They don't get disadvantage to dexterity, stealth. Oh, they don't get it. They don't cause disadvantage on perception or get advantage on stealth. But that's cool. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
I
And we have-
definitely say that's a shout to Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's another lovely illustration for anybody who has a book. It's very, very green and yellow and very natural colors and very elfy. Nothing like what's in the movie, but I'd imagine they tried to escape that.
Yeah,
with the illustration.
They can't exactly do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, give that to your players. It's an uncommon item. So it's a very good thing to just like give to maybe all your players, like the Fellowship, and then have them use them for camouflaging themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they go on a mission to bring an item to the land of evil and they need to hide occasionally. Yeah.
But it's a gift.
What?
It's a gift, Tim. It's a gift.
It's a gift.
Yeah, standard item. Give it to your players. It helps them with stealth and camouflage. Let's move on.
It makes sense that like it would be given to you by somebody who helped out like an elven people or something.
Yeah, definitely like a to like go with Lord of the Rings, like some sort of head honcho of the elves would be a great way of doing this. Or even like if you help out the elves, if you like you have like no elves in the party and they help out the elves, and like you are like how when me and Dan talked about the belt of dwarven kind, or like the cloak or whatever it was, it was like a you can gift it to like people who are not dwarves and say like you are now an honorable dwarf, like
Honorary dwarf boy.
so it's just like you are a part of the elves because of this. Thanks for helping us, and then they give you this.
Give you a slap on the
cloak.
butt and kick you out the
slap.
door.
Yeah, and like see ya, have fun with the cloak.
All
Yeah. So
Next.
Sorry, it's my go. Cloak of Invisibility. Wondrous item, legendary, requires attunement. While wearing the cloak, you can pull its hood over your head and cause yourself to become invisible. While you are invisible, anything you are carrying or wearing is invisible with you. You become visible when you cease wearing the hood. Pulling the hood up or down requires an action. Deduct the time you are visible in increments of 1 minute from the cloak's maximum duration of 2 hours. After 2 hours of use, the cloak ceases to function. For every uninterrupted period of 12 hours the cloak goes unused, it regains 1 hour duration. Yeah, more maths there. If I was to, once again, if we're to go with like callbacks or references, then there you go. Harry Potter with that one.
Oh, yeah. Cloak of invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
They just switch it around.
It's a much better stealth item than the Elven Kind one. So
for sure. Absolutely. Which is
definitely.
why it's legendary.
Exactly, yeah. That's a cool... It's a sub.
And just let them know when it kind of runs out. Because again, deduct increments of 1 minute. That's annoying.
Yeah, I don't tell them what to do.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
You're not my mom. It's just once, like, it's a cool item for your players to find, and it does what it says on the tin. It makes you invisible. There you go.
There's very much else you can talk about with it.
Yeah, there's really not.
Either this or the next one. I don't think there's a huge amount we have to say about it.
Oh yeah,
handy for giving to your players if you want them to be able to be invisible.
Yeah,
invincible.
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 So cloak of invisibility, make your players invisible. Shall we move on?
Sure. Do you want to read the rest of them?
I will read.
I'll read the next one. I'll read the next one because it's quite a bit longer.
Oh yeah. Also, I'll read this one because it's not a lot. Cloak of Protection, wondrous item, uncommon, requires attunement. You gain +1 to AC and saving throws while you're wearing this cloak. So a basic, +1 cloak. That is, just another piece of AC to give to your party, or for saving throws as well. So it's just a handy +1 item. It's a great, reward item to put into a treasure room, into like a treasure box anywhere. Just give to your players just to make it a bit more stronger.
I think it's very useful for obviously the clerics because not the clerics, I suppose the casters who aren't proficient in wearing heavier armors, and they don't want to be hit so much, so they'll probably wear something like this. Yeah,
it's a good way of getting your wizards up like some AC,
Yeah, because they'll probably be bored of getting knocked unconscious every round.
Yeah, defo,
for sure.
All right,
and uncommon, so just throw it at your players whenever you want.
Exactly.
Next up is the Cloak of the Bat. We had the okay, I'll just read it before we
just read it. We'll get into it.
A wondrous item, rare, requires attunement. While wearing this cloak, you have advantage on dexterity stealth checks. In an area of dim light or darkness, you can grip the edges of the cloak with both hands and use it to fly at a speed of 40 feet. If you ever fail to grip the cloak's edges while flying in this way, or if you're no longer in dim light or darkness, you lose this flying speed. While wearing the cloak in an area of dim light or darkness, you can use your action to cast Polymorph on yourself, transforming into a bat. While you are in the form of a bat, you retain your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores. The cloak can't be used this way again until the next dawn. Who does that remind you of?
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell.
Is it Darth Paul?
Yeah, I think it's Darth Paul. Man-Bat,
Man-Bat.
The villain from Batman.
From CD Entertainment.
What?
The DC.
Oh yeah. No, Man-Bat's an actual Batman villain.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, it's like a monstrous like Man-Bat, like were-bat. Like it's kind of a
spooky.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, let's not. We don't need to tiptoe around it. It's like Batman.
It's like Batman,
especially with Batman's special signature power where he transforms into a bat. Everyone remembers that movie with Batman where he transforms into a bat.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really cool. You can do like the Batman like hanging onto his cloak and like he kind of flying. He doesn't fly in the Batman media, but you can fly in this. But make your characters Batman. That's really it with this one.
My instinct is not to give it to players, like give it to the villain and basically have it destroyed during the incident, because I don't think it makes any sense for the characters to have something like this. Like the polymorph into a bat makes a bit of sense if they want to be able to sneak around the place, but a party will usually have someone that can cast polymorph already,
It is a strange thing to give to a party, but it might be I can picture players being a bit like, oh, why is it destroyed? I wanted that item. It looked cool. But if they don't know it's an item, if you just say that the characters do this, then you can get away with it. But sometimes it can be a cop-out if you don't give the players the cool items after the villains have been using it to fuck over your players for this entire time. You know,
I think it might actually just be a way to incorporate Batman, since they had Spider-Man earlier.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you could just give your bad guy a fly speed and just give him polymorph.
Yeah, and you know, they're like, hey, listen, you know Batman's signature move, polymorph into a bat. Let's put that into D&D. I think we can do that.
Let's do it.
You know, when Batman transforms into a... Yeah, I think players are ready to transform into a bat. Hey, remember when Batman transformed into a bat and fought the jokester?
Oh, yeah. Incredible.
Incredible. It was in Incredibles as well.
Incredible Bat as well.
Yeah.
His name was.
So like that's a cool item to give to, as we said, mainly a villain, I'd say, with that.
Yeah.
Maybe give it to a villain squad that we can make at some point, where one of them is Spider-Man, one of them is a Batman, and another one is the next item that we're going to talk about, the Cloak of the Manta Ray. Who's probably going to be the worst one because it's not as cool. But while wearing this cloak with its hood up, you can breathe underwater. You have a swimming speed of 60 feet. Pulling the hood up or down requires an action, so you can make a Manta Ray man. All he does is
a really shit Aquaman.
Yeah, all he is slightly proficient in swimming. That's it.
Yeah, he can sprint underwater.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is like another water breathing item, but it looks cooler. It's kind of a cooler thing to describe.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Than like the cap of water breathing. Like if you say to your players, it's like a manta ray shaped cloak, and it's called the Cloak of the Manta Ray. It's just a kind of a cooler. It's more wondrous and like fantastical to describe to your players.
For
I
sure.
think. It's a lot more D&D.
It's more for substance or than actual like usefulness. Or sorry, it's more for like visuals than actual substance. It's not a hugely useful thing, but it looks fucking rad.
Yeah. It's once again, it's just like another thing to make your players swim underwater. Like another.
And it could be used in a similar instance to the breathing one.
Yeah. I do like the idea of giving each of your players a different way of breathing underwater. Like a different, like, instead of giving them all the same thing, give them say, oh, I'm going to use the potion of water breathing. You wear the cap, and I'll wear the Cloak of the Manta Ray that I have. You know, just having them all use their different ways of doing it is kind of a cool way of doing it. So
yeah, for sure.
I think. But yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. I think with this one, it's kind of a cool looking item.
Cool.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, move on.
So the next one is a crystal ball, a wondrous item which can be very rare or legendary and requires attunement. The typical crystal ball, a very rare item, is about 6 inches in diameter. While touching it, you can cast the scrying spell save DC 17, with it. The following crystal ball variants are legendary items that have additional properties. Crystal Ball of Mind Reading. You can use an action to cast the Detect Thought spell, save DC 17, while you are scrying with the crystal ball, targeting creatures you can see within 30 feet of the spell's sensor. You don't need to concentrate on Detect Thought spell to maintain it during its duration, but it ends if the scrying ends. So that's one variation. Another is the Crystal Ball of Telepathy. While scrying with the crystal ball, you can communicate telepathically with the creatures you can see within 30 feet of the spell sensor. You can use an action to cast the Suggestion spell, save DC 17, through the sensor on one of those creatures. You don't need to concentrate on Suggestion to maintain it during its duration, but it ends if the scrying spell ends. Once used, the Suggestion power of the crystal ball can't be used again until the next dawn. And the final and third suggested variation is the Crystal Ball of True Seeing. While scrying with the crystal ball, you have True Sight, with a radius of 120 feet centered on the spell's sensor. There you go.
Yeah.
The old True Sight is cool because that lets you see into the ethereal plane, so you get to see ghosties walking around.
Yeah, that's very cool. So, yeah, this is a very cool item. You can do a lot with this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely giving it to like a powerful elder of some sort, or like a seer in like a village to kind of, you know, get some information as well. Giving them like the scrying spell or even like the True Sight, where they can kind of like talk to the dead or like ghosts who are hanging around. Like maybe they know something, and then like let me talk to these ghosts. Hello, ghosts.
Hello, ghost.
Yeah. Or giving it to like a villain who is using it like Saruman and just kind of like scrying
using
on
the
people.
Palantir.
Yeah, and like using telepathy as well to kind of like try and like corrupt them as well.
So I think this item would work really effectively in the hands of both the good guys and the bad guys.
Yeah,
like you have your seers, or you have your evil wizards, or you have your good wizards, or you have your evil seers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it has broad use for the party if they have like a central like city that they're working in. I think for the good guy, like they can have a wizard or a seer who lives in this big tower, and at the top he has his seeing room or something, where he has maybe one of each of the variants, or he has like a special slightly larger crystal ball that it has all three abilities.
It's a cool item to give to an NPC, or give it to your players, but I feel like it might be a bit better if they do keep it in one place. But obviously you can't stop them if they do bring it around. But like it's just a cool item to like keep in their HQ or something, or like
probably for higher level stuff as well. Like,
definitely, yeah.
I'd say level 10 and above, when they can basically just travel the world on a whim.
Yeah. I wouldn't know what a super crystal ball would be with everything, all those powers. That might be like super OP and cool, but it might be just so mad that it'll be great. One of those ideas,
Powerful
with like
stuff.
mind reading, telepathy, and true seeing. Yeah. So yeah, I do think it's just a little bit better as an NPC item. Yeah, having someone with it and just like, oh, let's go see him. He has the ball. He can probably help us out in this quest. Kind of getting it to like a friendly wizard on your side, or like somebody that can help you.
Maybe a cool way to have it for the entire arc of your campaign. If your campaign lasts long enough, you could have it introduced with this character, and then eventually like the city gets attacked or he's killed, and he leaves it to you in his will or something. At a higher level, and you receive the crystal ball, and maybe give your maybe make it like a hard attunement, like it gets its powers progressively over the course of a couple levels, essentially.
Yeah.
And that way you kind of reserve the full abilities of a super crystal ball, but you also like give your players part of the world that they hadn't been able to interact with yet.
Yeah, definitely. It's cool. Like giving your players the freedom to use it at some point in their adventure is really cool. It's just kind of like if they've seen it used before, then it would be cool for them to like have it themselves, have that power for themselves, and see how they use it. But yeah.
And if maybe you could kind of foreshadow it, because players, they're going to want to steal everything that isn't nailed down.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll catch them trying to steal it, and he'll say, I see you're very interested in my crystal ball. Maybe I will mark that, and in the future, maybe you will be able to wield it. Just like really heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Which will both dissuade them from trying again, and also, foreshadow potential future stuff.
And the players just like, no, I'm not thinking about the ball. I don't want it.
Yeah. Deflect.
Yeah. No. Let's keep going. We have time. We're on a time crunch here. So crystal ball, it is a cool item.
Indeed.
Use it. The cube of force, wondrous item, rare, requires attunement. If you guys remembered the bead of force from the last episode with me and Daniel, it might be a bit familiar to this. So have a listen. The cube is about 1 inch across. Each face has a distinct marking on it that can be pressed. The cube starts with 36 charges and regains 1d20 expended charges daily at dawn. You can use an action to press one of the cube's faces, expending a number of charges based on the chosen face as shown in the cube of force faces table. Each face has a different effect. If the cube has insufficient charges remaining, nothing happens. Otherwise, a barrier of invisible force springs into existence, forming a cube 15 feet on a side. The barrier is centered on you, moves with you, and lasts 1 minute, until you use an action to press the cube's 6th face, or the cube runs out of charges. You can change the barrier's effect by pressing the different face of the cube and expending the requisite number of charges, resetting the duration. If your movement causes the barrier to come into contact with a solid object that can't pass through the cube, you can move any closer to that object as long as the barrier remains. The cube of force is like the bead of force. Remember the bead of force, you can kind of throw it on people and you form a barrier around them, and you can pick it up and it's like light, like it doesn't weigh that much at all, and nothing can get through it, I think. So I kind of forgot exactly what it was, but I don't want to read back on it. But this is basically it lets certain things in. So let's have a read of the faces you can press.
Sure.
So, face 1, it only 1 charges, and the effect is gases, wind, and fog can't pass through the barrier. So there you go. Think about that as you will.
Handy in poison gas rooms or something where your character's being gassed.
Yes, that's actually very cool. I was thinking something very immature. Phase 2, charges 2. Non-living matter can't pass through the barrier. Walls, floors, and ceilings can pass through at your discretion.
Nice. Undead people out, and you can effectively walk through a building, but if the building starts collapsing on you, you can be like, nope.
Yeah, that's very cool. Number 3, with charges 3, living matter can't pass through the barrier. So, if you want to protect yourself from a bunch of, anything that wants to kill you, then just say, protect,
Nope.
barrier. 4, with 4 charges, spell effects can't pass through the barrier. Very good for wanting to not get hit alive. Staying alive. Not get hit by your fireball, maybe, as well. And any spell effect. If you just want to protect yourself from a spell, or if you think that someone's going to shoot spells at you, you can just put this up. Or
just walk around with it on. Yeah,
if you're going to fight like a University of Wizards or something. What's the plural noun for a collective noun for wizards?
A hat. A hat of wizards.
A hat of wizards. Okay.
The wizards have hats, and they are a hat of wizards. I think it's a council.
Hat of wizards. A council of wizards. Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
They're not real, so I'm not sure there is one.
I'm gonna have a look. Actually, I'm gonna look if there is one. There could be.
There could very well be a collective. I think it's a collective noun.
Collective noun for
wizards.
For wizards. For a group of wizards. Come on, someone tell me. Someone know. This is a bunch of people kind of coming up with their own. A conjuring of wizards, pretty cool.
That's cool. That's good. I like that.
That's a nice one. We'll go with that. A conjuring of wizards. So if you find them, then you can just put this barrier up, and then bam, no spells hit you. Or they can just run in and punch you, I guess.
Yeah.
But not a lot of wizards would do that.
Level 3, living matter can't pass through the barrier.
Oh yeah. But I think is this.
Does it only so you have to switch between them?
I think so. Yeah, you have to switch between.
Oh, cool. Nice.
That's why it has a weird number as 36, because you can kind of do different ones at a different time, which is very cool. We have to kind of switch through them. But number 5, nothing can pass through the barrier. Walls, floors, ceilings can pass through at your discretion. Cool. So there you go. Use 5 for nothing if you want nothing to pass through. So use that for everything else.
If you're feeling paranoid.
Yeah. 6 just deactivates it. So it's just the off button on it.
Yeah.
So if you guys are reading along, then the page before this one that we're on has a little cube with shapes on it, which I really like. It's for a very child's toy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Press
the triangle through the triangle side.
Yeah. Press square for spell effects can't be used. Hey. Okay. And yeah, so basically press the button and it does different effects, which is very cool, I think. It's a very cool item. The cube loses charges when the barrier is targeted by certain spells or comes into contact with certain spell or magic items, as shown in the table below. So disintegrate, it loses 1d12 charges. Horn of blasting, 1d10, Pass Wall 1d6, Prismatic Spray 1d20, and Wall of Fire 1d4. So do these certain spells or magic items, and you can weaken it. So it's cool that it has a weakness, because it seems like a pretty strong item, but giving this a weakness is just a kind of fun little touch to put in there. Because it does feel like if you give this to a player, they're going to use this quite a lot. It's a very it's a big get out of jail free card. So if your player's using it too much to get out of like a scrap, and they keep overusing it, then you have a reason to get rid of it. You can just use one of these items, make your next happen to make your next wizard use a prismatic spray, and crit! I got rid of all the charges. Look at that!
Whoopsie.
Exactly. So I guess it's just kind of like a little safeguard for that.
Because if somebody is using it very effectively, that is going to be a very, very, very powerful item. It's going to basically does it set as an action? You can change it to a different charge or a different face. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that.
Yeah. It's very, very cool.
Yep, you use an action to press one of the cube's faces. Well,
there you go. A nice little thing. I can't imagine it being presented in any other way apart from like in a shop. You know, like this is an item that is like extremely expensive, but is only produced by merchants who know that adventurers are going to be moving around the place.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's like an upgrade or something that you can give your players. Like you can use this to shield yourself from all of the effects.
Yeah, make it very expensive, and then like your players would like
crazy expensive.
Let's take out a loan or something. Like,
although it is only rare, so it wouldn't be enormously expensive. Like I think that's like 1,500 gold or something for a rare item.
But you should make it a bit more than that. Yeah, make it a lot. Like make it a lot of money to buy this thing, or say it with me. Give it to a villain.
Hey.
And then make him use it, and then they give it to your players when they kill him. There we go.
The classic.
Yeah, it's super cool. But let's move on. We are running out of time. Go ahead, Tim.
The final item is the Cubic Gate, a wondrous item that is legendary. This cube is 3 inches across and radiates palpable magic energy. The 6 sides of the cube are each keyed to a different plane of existence, one of which is the material plane. The other sides are linked to planes determined by the DM. You can use an action to press one of the sides of the cube to cast the Gate spell with it, opening a portal to the plane keyed onto that side. Alternatively, you can use an action to press one side twice. You can cast the Plane Shift spell with the cube and transport the targets to the plane keyed to that side on a spell save DC of 17. The cube has 3 charges. Each use of the cube expends 1 charge. The cube regains 1d3 expended charges daily at dawn. So
the cube.
The cube. It's like a what is it like? It's like a key, like a car key clicker thing to unlock your car, except it unlocks portals to different dimensions.
That's a very good way of describing it.
You just have it on your set of keys, you know.
Yeah.
As a little dongle.
Yeah. You got all your keys like, this is my house, this is for work, and this is for another dimension.
Yeah. Why do you have so many little dongles on your key set? Oh, one of them is a cube of force, and one of them is a cubic gate. You know how it is. I like my trinkets.
Yeah, or you have it like on like one of those, like a wallet chain or something, or like one of those.
Oh yeah.
One of those things that like caretakers have, where it's like a little spring.
Oh
thing
yeah, the little zippy thing.
Like you pull it out, and then you can. Yeah. When you let go, kind of zips back
to your pocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So what does this do exactly?
It opens a door to another plane, essentially decided by your DM.
Okay.
And it allows you to basically walk through it. Like Gate opens a gate to another plane, essentially. I think this would be very effectively used in the hands of a villain more than anything else. Yes. Or a gatekeeper, you know? Maybe because it's legendary, it belongs to what was the name of the guy with the cool sword in all the Thor movies?
I don't know.
I can't remember. But that dude, it's basically
Idris Elba is
Idris Elba, that's who it was.
Idris Elba in Thor.
You can look it up while I'm explaining myself. Heimdall, yes, perfect.
Heimdall.
Yeah, like it's a legendary item, so it's going to be extremely difficult to come across, and maybe is like one of a kind.
Yeah,
you know? So
definitely.
like it's going to belong to the Heimdall of the world, or the guy who basically lets people in and out of the various planes. And maybe recently, or in the last couple centuries in your game, he's been more generous with it, and he's going to be like an immortal essentially. He might even be a god.
It's just I can picture like your players having to venture across like through like on a really long journey to just get to this like one like decrepit old man who has this who protects this gate, and like, oh, you want to go to the ethereal plane? Well, you journeyed far, you can come through, I guess. And then he lets you through. He's just like the gatekeeper guy, because there's like one of these things, and he's so like old and mystical, you know.
Yeah. Like he's like an elf, but he looks like an old man. Like he's a decrepit elf. Like elves aren't supposed to age very well.
This guy
aged.
did.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
been around for millennia.
Yeah, and you just say, "Hey man, how come you aged? What was that?
What up with that?"
Yeah.
Oh, time is cruel.
Time is a cruel mistress.
But I think for it to get into the hands of villains would be a very, very late game thing to do. Like introduce him as an idea, maybe in the kind of mid-game where your characters are kind of mid-level, but as like a final hurrah for the bad guys, and like a campaign wrapping up thing. You could have them like murder this gatekeeper in an epic battle, but then they get control over the planes, and they unleash havoc across the world, and your characters have to play it.
Because you wouldn't really give it to players. It's kind of a silly item to give to players, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of...
unless they're like very, very late game, and and you're on like a plane hopping part of a campaign.
Yeah, just kind of like literally chasing the main villain through different dimensions, and like, get back here, and then just like he hops through different portals to kind of like you're just going through a race through space like to get him, and then you eventually tackle him in the plane of fire, and then you're like,
and then everybody's on fire, so they all die.
Like, well, Gorbalax, we stopped you this time in the plane of fire. How dare you run away from us, you naughty boy.
Stop running. We can go everywhere you can go. Just face us, you big dumb idiot.
In 10 different dimensions.
They were all tests, boys. You passed.
Well done.
Now you get to fight me for real.
So yeah, do that. It's a cool item
for sure. Like that's a epic item, and maybe your characters, if they do get it, it's like a chip off it. Maybe like the original is like you can use it unlimited times to all of the dimensions, whereas this is limited to 6 dimensions and 3 uses.
Yeah, and also I'd say you don't have to make it a cubic gate. Just make it anything really. Like make it like a sword, like in Thor. Make it like a ring, actually, as well. Yeah. Maybe like someone it's like anyone can easily take it and like put it on their finger and use it. You know, make it anything.
A set of keys.
A set of keys. A crown, or like anything. How they do whatever you want with it. It's just kind of you can use anything with it. Just
we're not your dads.
Whatever's pants. That'll be cool. The plane shift pants.
Plane shifting pants.
Whatever you think it would suit better in your game and your story, then do it. Yeah.
And that's the last of the old C items.
Yeah, that's C. That's cool, Tim. We kind of It's a bit of a long podcast, but hey, that's fine.
Yeah, I think it went very, very well.
It did.
So
we did well without Daniel this time.
Yeah, we did actually. We didn't need all his talking, all his words that he constantly throws at us. You hear that, Daniel? I'm jeering. Can you feel me poking you in the ribs?
We're calling you out, Daniel. This is a call out video. We're gonna beat you up tomorrow.
At dawn.
He's still out of the country, but next time we see him, we're gonna beat him up.
Yeah, we're gonna be at your house every dawn. Just until still not here.
Yeah, and when you show up, we're gonna beat you up with a ruler. I'm gonna get my ruler, and it's like plastic, I think, but I'm gonna beat you up with it.
Cool. Is it shatter resistant?
Yes, it is.
Good.
So it won't shatter. We
We don't
don't want to like any kind of any cuts or anything. But hey, I can still whack him with it.
Cool. So thank you everybody for listening to us ramble about these incredible items that have been made up by incredible people in Dungeons and Dragons over the many years that it's been around.
Yeah.
If you like this podcast, you are a fan of our stuff and you like being into this kind of junk that we are, you can suggest it to your friends or you can share it around. We very much appreciate people being enthusiastic about our stuff.
Yes, it is super, super cool. We never thought it would ever happen, and some people actually like listening to us, and that is very, very cool. That is like the coolest thing ever.
Because before we started doing this, we had basically decided this is just a cool thing that we can do,
Yeah.
Like we had done some small podcasts before, but like we got a little bit burnt out. Like this is fun, it's engaging, and it's part of a community that we absolutely love.
Yeah, and it helps us as well as DMs, and it seems to be helping people who listen to it as well. So we just all get to have a good old time. So our website is www.creatureclubpodcast.com, where you can listen to listen to more podcasts that come out every single Monday. You can leave a comment on whatever you want. If you used any of these magical items, let us know any stories or anything like that.
Or if you have any kind of homemade items, like we're going to be eventually doing a kind of drunk on homebrew kind of thing,
Yes.
And we can probably do, if people suggested, we can do an items thing for our fans, because we love getting virtually any insight from you guys,
Exactly.
Like we've been enjoying reading some of your homebrew monsters, and this is a cool alternative take on it,
Like leave us a comment, give us some homebrews, ask us a question, just say hey, whatever you want. We read them all. We have a Gmail as well, creatureclubpodcast@gmail.com, where you can send on homebrews if that's better, or contact us page on the website, whatever you're better with. And that's really it. That's all the housekeeping. We won't keep you any longer. Any final comments, Tim?
Yeah, just the old give us a review on iTunes if you have the time. That kind of helps us out, and share us around. Be cool.
Be cool. So I have been Mikey.
And I have been Tim.
And this has been Treasure Trove. I don't think I say stay cool for Treasure Trove.
I don't think you do. I don't think there is a sign off.
There's a treasure.
Wow.
That's my new sign off.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.